Democrats. And also joining me now from our nation's capital, Senators Lindsey Graham and John Barrasso. Guys, good to see you. Senator Graham, let me see if I understand this. The president will talk to Syria, Iran, Vladimir Putin, but he won't talk to members of the House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate. Do I have that right?
Yeah, but it's an unsustainable position over time. But, yeah, you got it right.
Yeah. Senator Barrasso?
Well, the House is doing something that is reasonable and fair tonight. They voted to keep the government open as well as to get rid of special privileges. The president has unilaterally said businesses get the employer mandate delayed for a year. As a guy said to me in Lovell, Wyoming, why did the boss get the special break, but the hardworking taxpayer doesn't? So all we're trying to do is, number one, make sure that workers get the same 1 year delay as the bosses have gotten, and two, eliminate this special deal for members of Congress and the White House that, again, the president unilaterally has granted, and I don't think he has a right to do it. We need to get rid of that.
Well, the president's amended this bill now on his own unilaterally 14 times.
Yes.
Do both of you agree at this point, after the House has now attempted to do this 3 times and they've been negotiating with themselves, do you both agree that maybe it's time to stop negotiating with themselves and wait for the president and maybe Harry Reid to come to the table?
Well, I think that the president and Harry Reid are both eager for a shutdown so they can try to blame it on the Republicans. But when you take a look at such a reasonable and fair proposal by the Republicans in the House that Republicans in the Senate are going to support, you know that it's President Obama and Harry Reid that are shutting down the government.
Yeah, if I could just add, Sean, they made a political decision, I think, a couple of days ago to allow the government to shut down, not accept any compromise from the House. And the word is compromise. The House has gone a long way from defunding Obamacare to a 1 year delay to including every member of Congress and their staff under the program. I think the House has been very responsible. But tomorrow the exchanges are open for business. Every American will have to sign up for the exchanges where available. We will survive the shutdown as a party. The Democratic Party will not survive the effect of Obamacare. So tomorrow's a big day. It will hurt us in the short term as a party, but it's going to kill the Democratic Party because tomorrow Obamacare starts in earnest.
All right, well, we've shut down the government 17 times. It's not like this is unprecedented.
Right,
and believe it or not,
right.
we actually do survive. Life goes on.
Yes.
Eventually, something will happen. But, you know, the president made a big deal of saying that this is the law of the land and basically saying he's elected. Don't we repeal bad laws all the time? I mean, isn't that common practice? You know, the president was elected, yes, but so was the Congress. And don't we have a system of checks and balances and separation of power? Isn't it Congress that has the power of the purse?
And the president hasn't abided by the law. He's the guy that's changed it. He's the guy that's given the 1 year delay for the business, the employer mandate. He's the one that gave special exemptions to Congress. He's the one, Sean, and we talk about fraud and abuse happening in the exchanges when they open tomorrow. He's the one that said, oh, we'll just use the honor system. We're not even going to verify someone's income to the extent that they should, that the law calls for.
Yeah. Well, the one thing we know, Sean, is the unions are telling the president, your law has destroyed the 40-hour work week. How many Americans now have 25 hours of work because the employer couldn't afford the expense of the mandates in Obamacare? This law is really bad for job creators. It's hurting the people it was intended to help. And over time, we're going to win this. Beginning tomorrow, people will understand what Obamacare is all about. You're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to have to pay a lot more for health care than you did yesterday, and people are going to have buyer's remorse. We will win this over time.
Well, look,
and with the exchange, I would say buyer beware.
Absolutely.
Remember, the president promised that it would be the cost of a monthly cell phone bill. Well, that's $71. He said it'd be as easy to do as shopping on Amazon. That's not going to happen. And remember, Sean, he said, and you get to keep your doctor. We know that that's going to be a real challenge under these exchanges.
Well, we've been covering this in all detail. There are 10 states now where Obamacare is literally wiping out existing health care plans. You got a $10,000 swing. There's not a $2,500 savings per family. It's a $7,500 increase for a family of 4. And as you both pointed out, the CBO also said it will bankrupt us and part-time employment will skyrocket. Let me ask, both of you did not support Ted Cruz in his effort last week. Why? Senator Graham?
Well, I thought it was a tactical decision that, quite frankly, I couldn't support. The idea of defunding Obamacare and attacking Obamacare at every turn makes sense to me, pointing out its flaws. But the idea that we're going to get the president to give up on his signature issue if we shut the government down, I didn't think you could get there from here. So it's a tactical decision I didn't support. But trust me, over time, Obamacare is going to fall of its own weight because it's a bad law, and the public over time is going to tell Democrats, sit down and start over.
What time do you expect this vote to take place tonight, Senator Barrasso?
It's going to be at 9:15. I would ask all your viewers to stay tuned to you. You may want to put a box down in the corner of the screen. We're heading right now to the Senate floor to vote. Actually, we're going to vote for it. And, you know, responsible Democrats ought to join us in voting to give a one-year extension on the individual mandate, and they ought to get rid of this special deal for members of Congress and the White House and their staff.
Amen.
Well, we'll be
Sean,
watching.
watch this Oklahoma lawsuit. There's a lawsuit coming out of Oklahoma. It's very clever. Under the law, if the states don't set up exchanges, the federal government's not allowed to do so. And a lot of states have not set up state exchanges. So watch the Oklahoma case going to the Supreme Court. There's a lot of litigation yet to be had.
All right, guys, we'll be watching. As a matter of fact, that vote is starting now in the U.S. Senate, and as it unfolds, we'll have it right here tonight in the next 10 minutes.